Well, I had trained for 8 months, not knowing whether I was going to fly or not, because NASA was not exactly in favor of my flight. But finally I was sitting up there, and after 40 years, I had set my goal to fly to space. I knew that nothing was going to stop me now. And I was just waiting for the rocket to light. So I could barely feel the blast off, because it goes very slowly and then it picks up. But it took less than 9 minutes to go from blast off to be into orbit. And it was about, max G-force was 3.5 Gs.
Where did you launch from?
Baikonur in Kazakhstan. So that was an exciting 9 minutes.
Thank you so much. So next is launch astronaut Naoko Yamazaki. I was invited there. I was feeling vibration, and it's a very emotional scene.
Early light, what so proud
gaseous oxygen vent seal, or beanie cap, is being retracted away from the top of the external tank. T-minus 25 seconds. Discovery's onboard computers have primary control.
この時どう感じておられますか? How do you feel at this moment?
Well, I've been training for 11 years to get up to space, so I was very, very excited, as you imagine. And the launch took from Florida in this December. And first, the speed is very slow, but it is gradually catching up. And the max G is 3G, just a little bit less than Soyuz Russian spacecraft. But the vibration is so big, and even in the cockpit, what I heard was even sound and vibration. And it took only 8 minutes and 30 seconds to get to space. It is so quick. Then it got very smooth acceleration up to the orbit. And in the last 2 minutes, we got reached the maximum G. And I felt very heavy, but not too bad. If you need to breathe deeply, but it's not too bad. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naoko-san. We have many distinguished guests tonight. Let me allow to introduce the mayor of Laguna, who's Mrs. Cynthia Connors. Could you stand up?
Well, I think we have a lot of questions that we would like to ask to those asked. The first question that I would like to ask is, what made you interested in space, maybe from your younger age experience?
So let me go first. When I was a child, I got interested in space itself, and actually I was inspired by the Japanese animation Galaxy Express 39, and I
remember having a meeting with the head of the astronaut corps at that time at NASA, Precourt, who was trying to convince me that I shouldn't fly. And I said, why don't you want me to fly? He said, because we didn't select you. So, but there is something about being selected through a process. Obviously, only the best get selected. And there was some question about somebody like myself coming along. I was 60 years old at the time, and they thought, hey, I was too old. In fact, I was the oldest person to fly in space for the first time. Prior to my flight, the oldest person was Deke Slayton. He was 51 when he flew for the first time. But I think, one of the things that came out of my flight is that if you really want to fly in space and you're willing to work hard and train, no matter what age you are, as long as you can pass the test, it'll work out fine. And then it turned out that 7 people after me or I think it was 6 people after me who were private citizens flew, and without any problem. And I think what this entire group may have demonstrated is you can take a private citizen and train a private citizen, and so far there haven't been any problems.
What was your schedule like when you were inside International Space Station? I heard that Naoko-san had a very busy schedule, and I would like to also hear about how you spent your time there.
Okay, I flew in 2010, and the International Space Station's assembly started in 1998. So when Dr. Tito went up the space station, it's at the beginning phase of the assembly. When I went up, it's almost complete. So I flew on a space shuttle Discovery, and then the Discovery docked to the International Space Station. So I spent about 12 days on board the space station, and then came back to the Earth on a space shuttle Discovery again. So the schedule was very tight, during this flight. Just all the experiments, all the robotics arm operations, and some, light communication with the school kids on the ground. So, but I could have about 4 hour and 2 hour of free time, so during my stay. So I enjoy very much for my free time, taking pictures each other, and see the Earth from the window, and also we play baseball on board the space station. So it was fun, but I wish I could have more free time so that I could take more pictures and more videos. So I'd love to go back to space whenever I have a chance again. So how about you?
Well, I had a lot of free time because I did not have a job. Although they gave me something I actually volunteered to do. It turned out that NASA sent the food in boxes that were like specific menus, and you would eat the menu, so you would the entire dinner, so you'd have a balanced meal. Well, the boxes were all delivered to the space station, and the first thing that they did when they got the boxes was open them up and take meat out and put it in a box called meat. Take the fish, put all the fish where it said fish, and just disregarded the whole balanced meal concept. And so people would pick what they wanted to eat. So that was the job that I had, was sorting the food. And I used to work in the post office when I was young. I used to sort mail, so I knew how to do it. But I spent most of my time listening to opera, looking out the window on the 45-minute part of the orbit where it was light, and took, again, a lot of video, a lot of pictures, and I just had the most enjoyable time of my life.
Working there, we sometimes get visits from NASA astronauts, and we hear talks from them. And prior to that, I worked at Johnson Space Center, where I've met several astronauts. Kinds of things came into your mind, and how has that changed you as a person? In those 8 days on orbit, 8 free, wonderful days on orbit.
Well, the experience of after I think it was a little less than 9-minute flight when the final stage burned out, and you immediately felt the weightlessness. I mean, we were strapped in, of course, but the pencils that were hanging on strings started floating, and you knew you were in space. And you look out the window, and you see that familiar picture of the black sky and the curvature of the Earth, the beautiful blueness of the Earth. I don't remember whether we were over ocean but most of the time you're over ocean, so it's very blue with the clouds. And it was just such a great experience, and it was like, yes, finally did this after 40 years, and it was a long-term goal, and it made me feel, you can do anything if you really are passionate about it, and I just hope many more people could experience this. And over the last 10 years, it's been a great pleasure to see how space tourism has become recognized as a goal for a lot of other people. And hopefully, 10 years from now, we're going to have a lot more than 500 people that have experienced spaceflight. We're looking forward to Spaceship Two with Virgin Galactic, taking people up to actually a very short space flight, but nevertheless a space flight, to have that experience. So for me, after 11 years now, because it was April of 2001, it's still the highlight of my life. And I mean, every day I think about it, and I just feel happy about it. And I guess the main change in my life is, I don't need to have goals anymore. I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. And I just hope many more people will be able to share that experience that I had.
That's one question. Yeah, because I was in a Star City as well for the Soyuz spacecraft, so I can tell you Dr. Tito has a very thorough, the whole training of 8 months of the spacecraft. And what I'd like to ask is, right now the space tourism is getting popular. So what kind of training is very, very important, for those kind of space tourists from the experience?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what training they will go through. And I'm a little concerned about that because, there's a lot of classroom training which they give to all cosmonauts, which allows you to understand how everything works. And I think it's important that you understand how things work because, here your life depends on it. And, if something goes wrong, you have to know how you're going to deal with it, and particularly take care of yourself, getting into your spacesuit, without the help of others, a lot of responsibilities.